Hello, everyone. I appreciate you being with us tonight. We've got a bunch of your questions, in regard to the elimination of the income tax, the personal income tax in West Virginia. I have said over and over and over, and I'm sure I'll repeat it in the questions as we go forward. I have with me, our Secretary of Revenue, Dave Hardy, and Mark Mukow, his right-hand guy with us that can answer any of the technical questions that I may not be able to answer. But the gist of the whole thing, and I've told you this over and over and over, but if you could just envision a situation that could happen in West Virginia to where every income tax bracket, every bracket, whether you make less than $10,000 and don't pay an income tax at all, or you make all the way up through 30, 40, 50, 70, 90, 100, even more, at every single wage level, every one of them, you end up cash positive after we have modeled and modeled and modeled, and we have added other different taxes, whether they be, a soda pop tax or an increase in the sales tax or whatever it may be. Every single one of you end up cash positive. Now, why would I tell you that if it's not true? Why in the world would I tell you that? I have never, ever lied to you, nor will I ever. Now, the biggest problem that we have is one thing and one thing alone, and that is you don't understand. And that is perfectly reasonable and absolutely expected in many ways. And that's why we're here. That's why we take your questions. That's why I'm your governor, because I expect in every way to explain, to be accountable, to be transparent. That's what I've done. I've done this all the way through every single piece of everything that I've had my hands on. Now, what if absolutely your beliefs today, what if they're wrong? What if I am truly right about this? What absolutely, how big would the miss be if we missed this opportunity? Now, if you could just stay with me just 1 second and just dial into just this. If the left hand is saying that every last one of you will end up cash positive, and I'm telling you, these great gentlemen that are with me right here and many more have absolutely pounded this every way you can do it, and they assure me without any doubt, if you're a family with an income less than $10,000 and you pay things all the way across the board, you're going to end up $258 positive at the end of the year with $258 extra dollars in your pocket. If you're a family of $35,000, you're going to end up with $460 extra dollars in your pocket after you pay the increase in sales tax and on and on and on. And if you're fortunate enough to be a family of $70,000, a total income of $70,000, you're going to end up the year with an additional $1,475 in your pocket. And you know what else? We're going to send you these checks. We're going to let you just stay exactly where you are, receiving a payroll check from somebody. And at the end of the day, we're going to send you the money back, and we're going to do it on a quarterly basis, if not even better. So we're going to do it every 3 months. We're going to send you a check. Now, that's the left hand. The right hand is just the opportunity. We know we're not growing in West Virginia. We know for 70 years we've lost population over and over and over. And we've done some incredible things in West Virginia. Look at that map. The only state in the entire country that has lost population in the last 70 years. Doesn't that get your attention? You know, the United States of America has doubled in population since 1950. doubled in population. And West Virginia has backed up, backed up, backed up, and backed up. Now, if we want to continue to struggle with our roads and with our schools and with all the different things that a lot of states have that we would love to have, we've got to grow population. You have to. So if you look at this again, the left hand is everybody's cash positive, and the right hand is the opportunity. They will move here. They will move here in droves. Absolutely, without any question, as we go forward, people will come. Business opportunities will come. More jobs will come. Absolutely, your property value, your home value will go up in value. It's exactly what will happen. And the way we've approached this is this way. We've approached this to hit everybody just a little teeny bit. Soft drinks, industry pays an extra 5 cents. They have not had an increase since 1952. Think about that. They pay 1 cent right now. What skin is it off their nose, really, at the end of the day, if they pay an extra nickel? And really and truly, that is a nickel that you're going to pick up the tab on. Are they going to sell more pop or not? They think they're diving in a ditch saying, oh gosh, the sky's falling, we're not going to sell more pop, we're going to sell less. We have looked at, because of your questions, should we tax, beer, liquor, and wine? Because we did raise the tax on tobacco and soda pop. Because we all know, now I'm bad for this. I drink an awful lot of soda pop, and that's not any good. And we know that that's not good for your health. We know it's not good for my health. There's many, many people that use tobacco products. It's not good for us. We all know that. So we put that tax on, and then we got questions, well, why not beer, wine, and liquor? And so we put that tax on them as well. Now, when we did so, we tried to do it to where every can of beer is going to cost you an extra 10 cents. The vape stuff that I know nothing about, nothing whatsoever. I don't understand it and everything else. And in the wine, we taxed that to where it would cost you an extra 94 cents, I think, a bottle. And from the standpoint of the liquor, Jack Daniels or whatever would raise from, I don't know, maybe $28 to $29.70 a fifth. So with all that, then there's all kinds of people that are out there. A gentleman asked me over in Beckley at a town hall, he said, well, I sell my shots of Jack Daniel for $7, and now I'm going to have to sell them for $10. And I said, sir, how in the world did you get to that? And he tried to tell me and everything, and I grabbed the calculator real quick and everything, and I went through it really quick, and where he really believed at $7, he would have to raise his price to $10, and then he would lose business. You know what it really worked out to? It worked out to his cost on $1.70 increase for a fifth of Jack Daniels, divided by 24 shots in that bottle, his cost would go up 7 cents. 7 cents. Now, my whole thing is just one thing. We do not understand all the specifics, and I challenge you in every way to some way, somehow, dig in just a little bit. There's nothing economically in your life that you have ever dealt with that is this important. This truly would transform West Virginia and get us really going. Now, I've tried to spread out the pain all across the board, and in doing so, develop a plan. I've said over and over, I would be the first to say, from the standpoint of what we've done with the beer and wine and liquor, it's out of kilter. We need to bring it back into kilter. But I have thrown out an idea, a concept, a plan. I've said over and over, I am absolutely, perfectly willing to not be set in stone on any of this. If we're out of kilter by 70% or whatever it may be on the beer and the wine and the liquor, change it. I have said from the standpoint of the coal industry and our natural gas industry, I'm in the coal business with my family. Now, they run it, but my family's been in the coal business a long time. My plan probably hits my family harder than anybody else there could be. We have the thinnest seam coal, and we have the highest quality coal, so therefore we have the highest price coal. And so we're getting it on both ends. But you know what? I believe that's what we should do. I truly believe that our coal industry, our gas industry, our oil industry, we are citizens of this state, and we need to always try to step up and help. And from the standpoint of the governor, we need to always, you know me through and through. Do you honestly believe in any way that Jim Justice would not stand rock solid for every single coal miner's job? Are you out of your mind? I mean, really and truly rock solid. I owe my life to coal in many, many, many ways. So, where I'm at is just this. I think the coal industry and the gas industry ought to step up and do a token amount. If things get bad, we absolutely step up and do a lesser severance tax. That's what we do. But if things are incredibly good, throw just a couple of extra pennies in the collection plate, because we need you to do that. We need you to be part of this plan. Do you realize that every single coal company, every single gas company, every single oil company, all their employees are going to get an immediate pay raise without their employer or the owner having to pay a dime, because we're giving it to them right here. Every last one of them are going to get a pay raise, a significant pay raise. I was with my son, a few weekends back and everything, and we were sitting on one of the mining jobs. We were just sitting there talking over the weekend. I think it was a Saturday or Sunday, I can't recall. And I asked him, I said, Jay, that guy that's running that end loader right there, what does he make? And Jay said, $90,000. Well, that guy at $90,000 would end up with a instantaneous pay raise of $2,183 a year. Now, I said, Jay, what about that guy driving a truck? He said, well, he's between $50,000 and $60,000. That guy would end up with a pay raise somewhere around $1,050. Now, let me tell you, we've all been in a situation in life to where we thought something was one way or the other. We were sure of it. What if, as I've done many times in my life, what if all of a sudden you discovered, wait a minute here, I'm missing something? And that's all I'm asking you to do. Go find out the stuff. Go find out the right answers. And then you make up your mind, West Virginia, and I'll stand right rock solid with you. I didn't have to do this. Really and true, West Virginia is doing great. That's why right now is the opportunity. Right now is our time when the whole world's looking right at us. Right now is our time. I spoke to the guy yesterday that ran Trump's campaign. His name's Justin Clark. And Justin could not possibly believe that there was any level of pushback, because he understands and he knows all the different integral parts of it. Now, listen to me and just stay with me for 45 more seconds. If there's unbelievable opportunity and there's every last one of you end up with extra cash in your pocket, well, how in the world could we possibly turn our backs on this opportunity? And I'll tell you how. Because people like the Chamber of Commerce have come out and said it's going to be bad for small business. Well, I hate to say this way, but you need to think really hard, West Virginia. about the chamber and what they've done in the last multiple years for you, for our small businesses? Have they been stuck in the mud and spinning around and everything? Have they changed to a significantly more liberal organization? Have they truly stood up and really helped our businesses? And could they be wrong? Now, I'm going to say one last thing to you. In my plan, you have to go big. In my plan, if you don't go big, nobody's going to believe it. Nobody's going to move to West Virginia on a whim. They have to believe. They have to believe it's going to happen. So in other words, you have to go significant. Now, think about this just a second. And this is a question that I want you to ask yourself 1,000 million times. You realize there's 732,000 households in West Virginia. As an average in the state of West Virginia, each and every one of those households is going to end up with checks coming to them of $1,483. Now just think, I said average. So some of them are going to end up with $350 and some of them are going to end up with $2,500. But as an average, every single one of those households will end up with $1,483 extra dollars. What are they going to do with the money? What are they going to do with the money? It's going to come in checks to them every 3 months. What are they going to do with the money? They're going to spend the money. And as they spend the money, just like I would do, like we all do all the time, as they spend the money, is it going to help our small businesses or hurt them? Now look, I may not look it, but I just didn't roll off a pickle truck yesterday. And I am telling you, if you believe that the dress shop downtown, the tackle shop on the corner, the Walmart, the gun shop, if you don't believe that dress shop downtown is going to sell more dresses when everybody, every household all around them as an average has $1,483 extra dollars, if you don't believe that that's going to stimulate our businesses like crazy, then you're wrong. You are absolutely so wrong. What happened when the federal government sent everybody their $1,400 check? How much stuff was left on the shelves in Walmart and everywhere else under the sun? And all those businesses are anticipating that. Absolutely, if every 3 months, forever, we send out everybody $1,483 extra dollars on an annual basis and on an average basis, do you not believe in your mind that we're going to sell more flowers, more dresses, more guns, more absolutely everything? Are we not going to buy more beer? Are we not going to buy more cigarettes? Are we not going to buy more soda pops in West Virginia? Of course we are. Now, some way, somehow, you've got to know. And you've got to take enough interest to really, really get it. Now, there's a lot of things that are floating around here and everything, and this is kind of a strange place a lot of times. You got some people that are out there in the wilderness and everything, and they believe this. They believe, you know, if I could lower your taxes by, pick a number, $2,000, and I would write you checks every 3 months. I'd write you a check for $500, and I'd send it to you every 3 months, forever. Boom, 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 boom. And all of a sudden, and I said, however, I've got to go over here and raise the bubblegum tax a penny. You've got people here, and I hate this because it buffoons me. You've got people that are here that are going to sit back and say, by God, I'm not voting for that because I'm not going to vote for one thing of a tax increase. Even though it blows your legs off and prevents you from getting this $2,000. And even though It absolutely blows the legs off of all the small businesses out there that would be doing so much business that's unbelievable. Now, I don't believe in that, and I don't think that's wise, and I hope and pray that we're not going to have an epidemic of that. But with that all being said, now I'm going to answer your questions. I want you to absolutely, please just go and really understand. Because at the end of the day, it's really important that everybody ends up with cash in their pocket. And it's really important that we understand all the opportunity that will happen. I mean, just look at every state, every single state with the exception of Kansas. Kansas is the only state that all the wheels came off. And you know why they did? Because they exploded their growth in their government. And on top of that, who in the world wants to go to Kansas? 2/3 of the population is right on our doorsteps. 2/3 of the U.S. population. Do you honestly not think they're going to come to West Virginia? Of course they are. We have 4 of the most beautiful seasons, the greatest people, everything under the sun. Of course they're going to come. We have low corporate taxes. We have really low property taxes. Do you not think they're going to come? Well, of course they're going to come. So the opportunity is limitless. And absolutely there's cash in everybody's pocket. And I say, that's the left hand and the right hand. Throw them both away. Just focus on just one thing. If every one of those households has $1,483 as an average, is it going to help our small businesses? Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you think for a second, if you're in a border county or wherever it may be, if you think there's going to be some people drive across the border and buy stuff over there, they are. Some. Not very many, but some. And I'll tell you why not very many. Let's just think about this. Today, if you're in a job where you can turn in your mileage and get paid back for it, I think you're paid 56 cents a mile. Now think about this. On a $100 purchase on your sales tax increase, you're going to pay $1.90 more. Now, on a $100 purchase, not on a $1 purchase, you're going to pay 1.9 cents. But on a $100 purchase, you're going to pay $1.90 more. Now, just stay with me. Stay with me. If you're paid 56 cents a mile, on your vehicle by somebody, by the time you drive wherever you're going, do you know how many miles you can drive for that $1.90? You can drive about 3.7 miles. Now you tell me, who's going to waste their time? Who's going to waste their time on a $100 purchase? How many people are going to just go to their local stores and buy the stuff in their local stores? And not only that, how many of those people that are across those state lines do you think are going to pick up and move here? And when they move here, they help everything. Drive up house values, absolutely help our schools, help the ability to do our roads, on and on and on. Quit believing this silliness. At the end of the day, if that average household gets $1,483, I think it amounts to $25 or $27. Now, if you've got $1,483 in your pocket, are you telling me you're going to put all that money in your pocket and you're going to drive to wherever you want to, spend your time, spend your mileage on your vehicle and gas and wear and tear and everything else? You're going to really do that over $25 or $27 when you've got $1,483 in your pocket? And you know what else? And this is the very last thing. Do you know, as we continue to get rid of more than 60% of that number will grow. And that number will be as an average, when we get rid of the other 40% without raising any more taxes, that number will be probably somewhere around $2,300 or $2,400 every year that'll come to you as an average. It's an incredible situation. We can't miss this one, West Virginia. Anyway, nevertheless, let's answer questions.
Thank you, Governor. The first question today comes from Deborah Kay from Ridgely, who asks, What taxes will you increase to offset the personal income tax on your constituents? And how would this help middle-income families?
Through it all, in my remarks in the beginning, and basically what I've tried to do, and it's Deborah, is that correct? Was it Deborah? Okay, Deborah, what I've tried to do is just this. I've tried to do this as gradually as I possibly can. For the people that are really struggling, wage earners that are really struggling, I gave them a cash rebate check, $52 million, so we could end up with cash in our pockets. From the standpoint of the middle income people, whether it be 40 to 50,000 or whatever like that, in this situation at 50,000, you're going to end up with $799 extra dollars after you've paid $40 more for soft drinks. And that $40 more, I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's 800 soft drinks a year, and you're going to pay an additional $250 in sales tax throughout the course of the year. Now, if you buy tobacco or liquor or whatever like that, you're going to have to pay a little bit more, but you're going to end up with $799 of extra money in your pocket. Now, Deborah, what I've tried to do, like I said, is our natural resource partners from the standpoint of coal, oil, gas need to step up and just do a little bit. From the standpoint of tobacco and soda drinks and everything, just do a little bit. From the standpoint of sales tax, we moved that up 1.9% and everything, of which that's all factored in the modeling to where you're going to end up with more money. And then we brought under the umbrella our professionals from the legal profession, from, the accountants and whatever it may be, the advertisers. Just think about it. They should pay sales tax. Now, if they pass it on, to be perfectly honest, from the legal community, the lawyers and everything are probably, in most instances, passing that on to people that can afford the lawyers, because the lawyers are used, primarily by the people that are doing better. So from the standpoint of hurting the lawyers, well, you can't, I don't know how in the world, or the accountants or whatever it may be, I don't know how anybody can argue this one, because it's a pass-through from their side. And the other flip side of it is just this. The only way they're going to have more business in the state of West Virginia is have more people here. And absolutely that will work and that'll tie. But you see, Deborah, what I've done is I spread it out. I spread it out over everybody, just a little bit here and there. It'd have been a lot easier to just said, well, let's just move the sales tax to 9%. And we don't have to put any tax on coal or gas, or we don't have to do anything with the lawyers. We don't have to do hardly anything else. Let's just do that. But you see, I think that's too much. That would just be laying all the burden on the people, on the working, the absolute people that are struggling wage-wise and everything else. So that's what we've done, and it ties. It all works in the federal government, the state government. It all ties together. It all balances. And absolutely, at the end of the day, it makes you, Deborah, some real live money. And not only that, it gives you an opportunity to just have more and more good things happening in West Virginia. Wages going up, property values, job opportunities, on and on and on.
The next question comes from Kenny from Parkersburg. In the event that your plan becomes reality, are there any major plans to invest heavily in tourism? It would seem that to maximize the effect of raising the sales tax, that we would need a major influx of tourism that some of the other states without income tax have. Do you think we currently have the infrastructure to handle the growth that you envision happening? Why can't we have our own Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge attractions right here in West Virginia to help ease the pain of the residents paying the sales tax?
Now, Nathan, I didn't hear the last. Why can't we have what?
Why can't we have our own Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge attractions right here in West Virginia to help ease the pain of the residents paying the sales tax? And the gentleman's name was? Kenny from Parkersburg.
Kenny. All right, Kenny, listen to this. My dear friend, and I don't know who Kenny is, but I want you to listen to me really close, Kenny. If you took a typical person in Tennessee today, and let's just call him Toby, and you went up to Toby and said, Toby, did any of the taxes go up when y'all went without an income tax in Tennessee? He said, well, dadgum right you did. Well, Toby, do you like it or not like it? He said, you kidding me? I was making $35,000, and now I got a job making $82,000, and if I don't like my job, I can go right around the corner and get 9 more just like it. And he said, you know what else? He said, listen to me, buddy. Let me tell you what else. Here's what else, and that is I took my kids every year and drove to Disney World with them. And now they're grown. But you know what? We can go right around the corner to Dollywood. Now, absolutely, you got to listen to me, Kenny. Without any question whatsoever, I have made a real live commitment every day I've been here to tourism, have I not? And tourism in this state of West Virginia has taken off like nobody's business, has it not? And I have absolutely been right behind that all the way and would continue to do just this. This is our chance, Kenny. Right now is our chance.
Our next question comes from Lydia from Charlestown. Where do you make up for the lost revenue? Are other taxes added or increased? If so, which ones and how much?
Okay, Lydia, I think this is kind of a backup of what I've already said and everything, but there's not going to be a shortfall. There's not going to be any need for additional taxes than what I've just said. I have spread it out over a big community, whether it be soft drinks or tobacco or coal or gas or lawyers or whatever. I've spread it out with consumer sales tax. I've spread it out over a big area to keep it as painless as I could possibly keep it over the big area. But it all ties, and absolutely, if you'll just completely dial into just one thing. That's all you got to think, Lydia, is just think, every time you drive up and down the road, look at all those houses and think about every last one of them with an additional, as an average, an additional $1,483 every single year, and that will only grow. What are they going to do with the money? What are they going to do, Lydia? They're going to spend it. They're going to spend it everywhere, all over the place. And there's a multiplier effect in those dollars. And when that starts happening, what's going to happen to our businesses? What's going to happen from the standpoint, Lydia, about people that want to move here? For crying out loud, I mean, Lydia, do you realize with our Schedule Cs and all kinds of stuff like that we will eventually get rid of from our sub-S's and everything? Can you imagine a business that's sitting in Ohio right now or Indiana or wherever it may be? Can you imagine a business there that's got 100 employees and the owner's making more money than he can see straight? And it just so happens that the state is taxing him 10%, maybe even more. Tennessee taxes their businesses at 3 different levels. We do one. From the standpoint of a sub-S, an LLC, a sole proprietorship, all the earnings flow down to the owner. And if he just happens to be making a pot full of money and all the earnings are flowing to him, he can come here and save instantaneous all kinds of money. And not only that, Lydia, he can bring his employees here and every one of them get an instant pay raise that he doesn't even have to pay for it. So what's he going to do? I mean, if he can come, he's going to come. And that's going to make more people, more job opportunity, more goodness happen all around us.
Next, we go to Matthew from Fairmont, who asks, wouldn't repealing the massive number of consumption taxes help those struggling more while also reducing the payroll needed at the state tax office? Repealing the income tax only helps those who make too much to get a tax refund.
Well, Matthew, that's where I want to challenge you to just absolutely dig in, because that's not true, Matthew. We are making this where everybody's getting money. Now, but I'm going to pass to Dave Hardy because I've run my mouth so much my throat's hurting a little bit, and maybe he can answer this better than I can.
Sure. There's 2 questions raised there by Matthew. One was, would we repeal the massive number of consumption taxes, help those struggling more compared to reducing repealing the income tax? Matthew, we don't know your income, but under this plan, if your income, I'll just pick a hypothetical. if you have a household of 3 and your income's $40,000, then your income tax was $1,305, but it's going to go down to $783. And even if you are a smoker, and even if you consume beer, wine, and alcohol, and a lot of us like soft drinks, including me, you are still going to come out, based on our projections, you're going to come out $362 a head. So if you're not a beer and wine drinker and you don't use tobacco products, you're going to come out $519 a head. So this is a good plan. It's a very fair plan for you. And the slight increase in consumption taxes helps spread all this issue across the economy of the whole state. But the home run for you is the big reduction in your income tax, which will be a 60% reduction. And that's a real winner for you and your household.
Did you say 50 or 60?
60.
60. Yeah.
60%. Yeah.
The next question is from Charles from Clarksburg, who asks, do you plan to veto House Bill 3300 if it reaches your desk in its current form? Do you plan to call a special session if lawmakers fail to pass a plan you're happy with by the end of the current session? Thanks.
I would say, you never say never. I surely want a plan that does not lay this burden on the back of the people that are our neediest people. I just want a plan that's fair. I want a plan that's fair. I want a plan because I know that it will really, really, really help our small businesses, and it'll help the people of West Virginia, and it'll get us growing population. So I want a plan, and I am perfectly willing to negotiate that plan and everything. And I don't know all the things in Senate Bill 3300 that just came out. In fact, I'm seeing it for the very first time as we speak. And so, I think from what I've been told, there's some really good things in here. I think one of the things that I've been supportive of from day one is to try to some way, somehow keep the people in the Schedule C, the sub-S's and the unearned income back in the cuts, because that will drive people to us. I'm all for that and everything. But we got, I think this will be a process and everything, and I hope and pray we'll all keep, open mind and everything, and we'll work through it, and like a lot of people say, we'll make the sausage as best we possibly can, and we'll come to a plan that I can support and everything. But Matthew, I can't be more blunt than just what I just said. I've tried to spread it out and make it, relatively painless all across the board to everybody. And that's what I'm going to try to continue to do. But I think it's really, really, really important in West Virginia that we get a plan.
Next, Mark from Lewisburg asks, has the governor's proposal to exclude from state income tax the $10,200 that the federal government is excluding been voted on yet? Also, many people worked throughout the pandemic and they did not receive free money. They paid taxes. Why not give them the same break the unemployed are getting, especially since many are considered essential workers?
Dave, you guys have to answer this one.
Governor, at your request, we drafted a bill that exempts unemployment up to $10,200 from state taxation, following the governor's or the federal government's plan under the COVID-2 Act. That bill is right now is pending in the House Finance Committee. Preliminary indications are that it will be passed and will be, of course, signed into law by you. And I know that you totally supported that position, making unemployment. Yes, sir.
Talk a little louder, please.
Okay.
Because I think our viewers may be struggling with that a little bit.
All right. Okay. Yep. Back to the original point. The question was the federal government in the COVID-2 legislation exempted $10,200 of unemployment compensation from federal tax. You instructed us on behalf of the people of West Virginia to draft a bill, which you had introduced, that would do the very same thing on your West Virginia income taxes. So your $10,200 income that you got from unemployment in the year 2020 will be exempt from federal tax and will be exempt from state income tax. That bill was introduced per your instructions, and it's now pending in front of the House of Delegates Finance Committee, and we expect it to be passed, and then you'll have the opportunity to sign it into law.
Next, Nancy from Wardensville asks, do you think focusing efforts on legalization of marijuana to increase tax revenue would be more beneficial than proposing a tax cut you can't pay for? It makes more sense to me that at the current moment, you shift efforts toward bringing in a source of income and then turn your sights outward before you cut off income that is half your budget. Why don't we bring in another source of revenue, see how much it gets us, and refocus from there? Isn't that a smarter approach?
Well, Nancy, let me say this. You know, I'm the one that came up with Jobs and Hope. I'm the one that came, you know, that they turned into, I don't know exactly the name that, you know, I'm sorry. I'm the one that came up with Jim's Dream, and it changed into Jobs and Hope. But Nancy, personally, I am not for recreational marijuana. But I want to tell you this. I'm not here to do what personally Jim Justice thinks. I'm here to do what the people want, and that's all there is to it. If some way, somehow, you know, the elders in the Senate or the elders in the House would some way start this movement, I have said to them over and over and over, I really believe that the federal government, that recreational marijuana is coming. I absolutely believe it's coming, and why should we wait and be dead last? If the bill comes to me, I'll sign it tomorrow. Even though I'm not a believer myself, I think it is best for all of our people. I don't really have the proper education because, and I've been, you know, I'm not anywhere close to being learned enough to be able to really evaluate, is this great or not great? But if the bill comes to me and dollars from the bill, tax savings or dollars that come from the recreational marijuana would help us move the ball further down the road in regard to the personal income tax, I'd be all in. The only thing I differ with you on is this, is where you say, we're doing stuff with revenue that we can't pay for. You know, that's not true, Nancy. All these numbers balance, and we've worked them really, really, really hard. I don't know how I can be more clear than what I've just said.
Next, Philip from Kearneysville asks, the plan you propose to eliminate personal income tax shares concepts with the plan enacted by Kansas Governor Sam Brown back in 2012. That plan did not provide the expected benefit to the state and resulted in drastic cuts to key state services and in 2017, a rollback of the plan. How does your tax plan compare to the Kansas plan, and why do you believe your plan will be more successful?
Well, Philip, you know, as I said earlier, Kansas shipwrecked themselves not managing their store and not managing their budget within their state. That's all there is to it. The other thing is just this, Philip, is you've got to just look everywhere else. Wyoming, Tennessee, Alaska, look at Florida, look at Texas. I mean, look how much they've grown. I mean, for crying out loud, you know, just look what's going on there. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to pick up on that. Who wants to go to Kansas? I mean, come on. I mean, Philip, we're within a rock's throw of 2/3 of the population of this country. We would be the most easterly and the most northerly state with no income tax. With 4 beautiful seasons, with all I've said about the great people that are here and everything else, I mean, Philip, we're not Kansas. We don't want to be Kansas. And they did not manage their store. I've proposed a flat budget for a short period of time until we get our feet right underneath us. And Philip, I'm the guy that walked in the door, and this state was dead level bankrupt. I don't care what anybody says in the world. And what have we done? What have we done? We've turned the whole tide. We've absolutely, you know, addressed roads and education and our veterans and absolutely our elderly and everything. And we have pumped surplus after surplus after surplus. Not only that, we've been first in the nation over and over and over in all the COVID stuff, from the economics to the health and safety of our people. Philip, I know what I'm doing here. I know, and it's been an honor to be here in every way. You know, Philip, I got this.
Next, Jennifer from Tunnelton asks, why are independent contractors, gig workers, sole proprietors, i.e. those who receive 1099s and or file Schedule C, being excluded from this plan? We pay personal income tax as well. Some of these citizens are low-income workers as well.
Well, Dave, let me make a stab, and if I do it wrong and everything, you jump in and tell me. Look, I want them in there. And in my plan, here's what will happen. They're just kind of shoved to the back right now just for a little short period of time. My plan is the entire elimination of income tax, in the state income tax in West Virginia. And in doing so, we just shoved them back just a little bit to where we could make this bold step in the beginning and keep the economics of our state in balance and everything. But I want them in there because they'll drive more and more and more people to this state.
That your answers are absolutely correct, Governor. And I think the plan is to bring the Schedule C income in the second phase of this plan, as you've explained it to me.
Next, Kim from Barbersville asks, please explain in detail how this plan will benefit small business owners, the already struggling restaurant and bar industry in particular.
All right, Kim, you know, I'm really counting on you here. You know, Kim, just think just a second about this. You're in the restaurant business. You're in the bar business. You know, you need to sell liquor. I've told you the example on Jack Daniels. You know, on a shot of Jack Daniels, it's going to raise your cost 7 cents. 7 cents. That's it. You know, now, Kim, just think with me just one second. Stay right with me. From the standpoint of your restaurant, the only way in the world that you're going to increase business is have more people there. Kim, I can't get you more people there if the state of West Virginia doesn't grow in population. You know, now, the other flip side is think with me on one other thing, Kim. Stay right close on just this. If everybody's within driving range of your restaurant has $1,483 more dollars, are there going to be more people come to your restaurant or not? And that's without one single person of growth. That's without one person moving in. Everybody within driving range of your restaurant, as all over the state, is going to have an additional $1,483 as an average, every household. Are there going to be more people come to your restaurant or not? Come on, Kim. You just got to absolutely just open your mind and just think about this, because this absolutely is your chance. Your chance.
Next, Carol from Hurricane asks, we only get Social Security. We do not pay income taxes. How can your tax increases possibly help us? We cannot afford to pay more on anything. Gasoline is high, food prices are soaring, healthcare is high, among other things. Again, how can your proposed higher everything help us and not make life more difficult than it already is?
It's Carol, right?
Yes.
Carol, one thing and one thing alone. You're going to get a cash rebate check from us if this happens. I don't know exactly to the level, if it's going to be $350 or $200 or whatever. You're going to get a cash rebate check. And what that cash rebate check is going to do is underpin you where you can pay a little more sales tax, or you can pay, you know, a little bit more soda tax or whatever, and still end up with more money in your pocket than you have today. That's the whole thing.
Next, Cindy from Huntington asks, I keep seeing that you believe West Virginia could get a tourist attraction like Disney World or Dollywood by repealing this tax. Have you talked to any businesses or developers that want to bring an attraction like that to our state? Wouldn't it be more likely that we could expand in the tourism categories that people already associate with West Virginia? For example, hiking or whitewater rafting. If this bill is supposed to help our economy and bring prosperity to our own people, why would you propose tax increases on items that are disproportionately used by our less affluent citizens like beer and cigarettes?
Well, first and foremost, you know, from the cigarette standpoint, I would hope and pray that we'll take a really close look. If you're a smoker in the state of West Virginia, please think about what you're doing, because, you know, all the data tells us overwhelmingly and everything that we probably ought to be smoking less cigarettes. But from the standpoint of how we've modeled this thing out, all the matrices tell us and everything, we have done it in a way to where you, no matter what income level you're at, you will end up with more money in your pocket. Now, if you're smoking 6 packs of cigarettes a day, well, to be perfectly honest, you're probably not going to make it too much longer and everything. So the last thing you probably ought to be worrying about is, from the standpoint of us repealing income taxes. But if you're just a moderate smoker or moderate drinker or whatever like that, all the modeling that we have works to where you end up with more money in your pocket. Now, as far as Dollywood, let me tell you this. Years back, when Disney was going to go to Manassas, Virginia, and they declined to do so, I was involved right in the middle of a deal where Disney was looking at coming to the intersection of I-77 and I-81. In fact, I was right in the middle of it because I owned a lot of the property there. I was right in the middle of the whole transaction and everything, and it became that close to becoming a reality. Now, I don't know everything by any stretch of the imagination, nor do I ever profess to. But I have absolutely dealt with all these people in many ways. Absolutely, West Virginia has a booming tourism, but only booming to the level that we are just starting. From the standpoint of our whitewater rafting or hiking, whatever, we are promoting everything in the world. We spent $100 million on our parks, on and on and on, but I am truly telling you that I do have experience with the possibilities of a Disney or a Dollywood or whatever it may be. I do believe that there's more good that could come and tourism boom in West Virginia because that is the sleeping giant. Now, on top of all that, we have diversified in West Virginia. We're not relying as much by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, way less than any time in the last 25 years on our natural resources, coal and oil and gas. But in that diversification, tourism has been right at the top of the list. And absolutely, we should continue to do just that.
Next, Jamie from Fairdale asks, why do you think a 2,300% increase on e-juice is a fair tax? In preparation of this tax, one well-known store has already closed.
Well, I don't know why in the world, Jamie, that the store would already close. They must have a whole lot of other problems because this thing's still got a long ways to go, and even if it goes, it won't go into effect until next January, 10 months from today. But nevertheless, Jamie, I will tell you this, from Fairdale, I've got to tell you that years ago, I used to bird hunt all through Fairdale, and I've got tons and tons of friends in that area. It's a great area and everything, and we don't want to do anything, Jamie, that's going to hurt anybody in Fairdale or anybody anywhere in West Virginia.
Next, Deborah Kay from Ridgely asks, will our county taxes increase on our homes and personal property due to repealing our income taxes?
I hope so. And you know why I hope so? I hope your home values go up in value. That's one of the things that is absolutely ever so true. Now, really and truly, your property value is not going to go up in any way significant at all. But I can tell you, I hope your home values go up in value. I want you to do better in every way. You see, there was a time, really and truly in America, to where we thought, you started out down a path. It's hard, I know, for you to believe, but my grandparents never had indoor plumbing on my mom's side. Never. I visited them all through my childhood, never had indoor plumbing. Now, there was a time in America where we all started and everything, and one of the hopes and dreams was that someday we'd own our own home, and our home was our treasure, and we wanted it to grow in equity. We wanted it to grow in value and everything. It was our nest egg in many ways. Well, I want that to happen. I want that to happen for you for sure.
Next, Ann from Charlestown asks, I was excited at first about hearing of the repeal of the West Virginia state income tax, but I'm disappointed it is at 60% for Social Security income as well. And investment income is still going to be taxed fully, and professionals, lawyers, CPAs, myself as a home stager, are taxed on our services. Let's compare all of this to Virginia. They do not tax Social Security income at all. Professional services are not taxed. The tax form is far more favorable as to deductions. How do you see West Virginia competing with next door neighbor Virginia, who also has lower car insurance rates, lower gasoline taxes, and a reasonable alcohol purchasing system? All of this I found out after moving from Virginia to West Virginia. Our car insurance almost doubled. We go over the state line for gasoline and alcohol, and now my business services are subject to sales tax in West Virginia.
And this was, who was this?
Ann.
Ann, okay. Ann, let me lead off, then I'm going to pass to our Secretary of Revenue. But Ann, just you live in an area that is booming in lots and lots of ways. And one thing we've got to do, we've got to assure you in that area and everything, is we bring additional growth to your area and everything. We want to do so in a really tasteful way from the standpoint that you have a standard of life there that we don't want to disrupt and everything. But Ann, here's the bottom line to the whole thing. So many people probably live in West Virginia that are in your area and work in Virginia. And the reason they do that is because they can't stand what's going on in Northern Virginia today. Virginia really has lost its way, in my opinion, in many ways. But Ann, from my standpoint, I have to first and foremost look after you and look after all the border counties, but I've got to look after all of West Virginia as well. Now, Ann, just think about this, and this is, I mean, you know me, I just talk as bluntly as I possibly can, and I can tell you just this: we've got down pat how to lose. We have proven how to do that forever and ever. And we are losing population in this state, and we're the only state in the country doing so. Now, all these different things that you say that Virginia is better at and everything, and you just step back and let us eliminate our state income tax, and you watch the migration of people that'll come out of Virginia. They'll come right to you. They'll come to all of us. You know, I can't possibly say it any more just point blank than just that.
Joan from Charleston asks, the tax bill in its current form proposes a massive income tax cut with increases in various taxes and implementation of others. I am for the elimination of the personal income tax, but this doesn't really show sound fiscal policy. Why are there no efforts to cut spending? West Virginia has overspent for years. The solution isn't raising taxes. We must cut our spending habits.
And this was who, I'm sorry?
Joan from Charleston.
Joan, you know, you got to give me this. I'm a business guy, and I've been in business a long time, and I've taken over businesses like the Greenbrier that was dead level bankrupt and tried to make them, you know, go and do well, and I have never, Joan, in my life, I have never seen a situation to where you can cut your way out of a problem. Now, do we need to be prudent? I mean, Joan, since I walked in the door here, we have, for all practical purposes, kept flat budgets. We've had surpluses. We've done the right things with the money. I mean, Joan, you know, really and truly, I am proposing additional flat budgets. In my scenario, what I am proposing is $25 million of cuts that are going to come from the Senate and $10 million of cuts that are coming from attrition. You know, that's in my plan right now. You know, but I am telling you, Joan, if you think that we can just take a meat axe to stuff and we can cut our way to some level of prosperity and cut services and everything else, you know, then you'll have to go back to my predecessor and just think of my most recent predecessor, what we did. We cut and we cut and we took money out of rainy day and we cut, and the whole time more and more people left. And so in other words, we just kept dragging the hole right with us. The further we cut, the more the hole went with us. And at the end of the day, Joan, that won't work. It just won't work. We need to be prudent. We need to cut out waste as much as we possibly can, but that won't get us there alone.
Next, Billy from Brewston Mills asks, part of the plan to eliminate the state's personal income tax includes a proposal to raise West Virginia brewers' 31-gallon barrel tax from $5.50, already the second highest in the nation, to $29.25 per 31-gallon barrel. This increase of more than 400% will certainly result with very few options for breweries' survival. Many will close their doors or leave the state. Of the almost 30 breweries in West Virginia, all are small businesses, which the governor says he supports. Why target craft beer brewers and not other small businesses? Please justify this extreme increase to not only the brewers, but to its customers, not only to residents of the state, but to those who visit from other states.
Billy, I led off by saying I thought the tax that we proposed on beer, wine, and liquor was disproportionate. It is. It is. Now, I'm not a drinker, and I don't know much about it. But all I can go by is numbers that we have been put in front of me. From the standpoint of beer, let's just talk about beer. First of all, Billy, I want you to know that at the end of the day, what I have proposed will go down significantly because it's disproportionate and it's a mistake, and I get that. I get that. And remember, Billy, I'm the person that believes in this. If I've done something and I think we can make it better, I'm the first person that steps up, But in that, Billy, I want you to just focus on just one thing. And be tremendously fair with me. If the price of a can of beer was going to go up 10 cents, and everyone around, for as far around that store as you could go, is going to have an additional $1,483, do you think we're going to sell more beer or less? And really and truly, that's with the full boat. That's with the full boat of what has been proposed. And I'm telling you, Billy, that needs to go down significantly, and it will. It will. But, Billy, do you really think if you're in the craft beer business in West Virginia today and you want tourism to come, you want all these things to happen, are they coming today? Are they coming? I've got to find a way for them to come. I want your business to flourish like crazy. And at the end of the day, if we end up raising the price of a can of beer by 3 cents or whatever it may be, people are going to buy still so much beer, it's unbelievable, and they're going to come, and there's going to be more patrons, there's going to be more tourism, there's going to be more everything to where you can sell more beer.
I think somebody has given Billy some bad information. Right now, West Virginia is tied with Ohio for the 29th highest beer tax. In other words, there are 28 states that tax beer right now higher than we do. So I think Billy got some bad information there when he said that we were the second highest in the country. We're the 29th.
Okay.
Next, Gwyneth from Charleston asks, I'm concerned that an increase in sales tax will drive businesses out of state, with the sales tax becoming the highest in the nation. What is the governor's plan to ensure local and regionally owned businesses don't lose out to out-of-state and national competitors?
It's just plain, in my opinion, it's just plain not factual. First of all, if you look at local and our state sales tax and the local tax combined, West Virginia, even at 7.9%, moving to 7.9%, is nowhere close to the highest in the nation. It's just not. And I'm gonna pass to Dave. Maybe you'll really pay close attention to our Secretary of Revenue on this.
Sure. We did a lot of research on this, and our source, of course, is the Tax Foundation. West Virginia, if we take our state sales tax under your proposal, Governor, to 7.9, our average sales tax across the state, and that would include the local sales tax that some of the municipalities have availed themselves under the home rule program, would be 8.4%. There are 11 states above us. Tennessee has the highest tax in the country at 9.55%. And behind that is Louisiana, Arkansas, Washington, Alabama, Oklahoma, Illinois, Kansas, California, New York, and Arizona. So we would be, even under your proposal, we would be 12th in the country, and we would be over 1% lower than the highest one. That's Tennessee.
And let me just add one more thing. You know, again, it is not, this is the whole issue. I challenge you all, please just get the facts, and please learn as much as you can about this, because this is an opportunity beyond belief. Now, if you'll just step back from this whole thing and just think about one thing, many of these states that we're talking about, you know, that have, you know, a higher sales tax than what we have, you know, a total sales tax, and ours is an average. That 8.4 is an average between local and the state sales tax together, you know, and the way we do that is about half our state has the home rule, you know, the additional 1%. And so when you put it all together, we're at 8.4%. You know, Tennessee is at 9.55. Is Tennessee thriving or not thriving? Of course they are. You know, we have a lower property tax. We have a lower business taxes. We absolutely are closer to the population. You know, absolutely, without any question whatsoever, if the person that just asked that question would just step back and think about the small businesses and how they will boom because all the households will have these dollars. And that's what you've got to think about. You have got to think about that.
Our last question for tonight comes from Josh from Petersburg, who asks, are you concerned that increasing regressive taxes like the consumer sales tax will put too much burden on low-income earners? What is your plan to make sure that taxes remain equitably distributed?
Josh, I was terribly concerned that absolutely the burden on this whole elimination of income tax would be borne too much by our low-income wage earners. And we addressed that. Josh, we went back and gave $52 million in cash rebate checks. And when you get above $35,000, you're at $40,000, you know, Josh, you're going to end up with $519 extra dollars in your pocket. And as you go higher and higher and higher, it just goes more and more and more. And Josh, there's no way that Jim is going to turn his back on the people that are out there in West Virginia that are having a tough way to go. Jim's not going to do that. You know, I truly believe that as we get more people in the state, more job opportunities and everything else, Josh, we'll be able to reach those people that are making $10,000 and hopefully move them up to $30,000 or $40,000. But in the meantime, we can't put this burden on their back. We've got to spread this out over a lot of different areas. And in doing so, we've got to backfill them with rebate checks to make sure that we're not putting a burden on them. That's my plan, you know, and I'll keep coming back to you and answering your questions and talking to you. I really, really appreciate your questions. And all I ask is you just do exactly what I've just said. Please, please don't let anyone tell you something you do for yourself. Just spend a little bit of time yourself, and you'll find out that this is the opportunity of all of our lifetimes. And if we miss this one now, you may say, well, we do it next year and everything. The spotlight of the whole world is on West Virginia today. All you got to do is watch the national broadcast and everything and watch how they talk about West Virginia today. That won't remain there forever. COVID will leave. Stimulus will leave. This is our time right now, West Virginia. We have surpluses. We have our state right side up. We have the opportunity with the spotlight of the world on us, and if we miss it, shame on us. All I can do is take you to the water. I can't make you drink. There's no way. From the standpoint of me and my businesses, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Really and truly, it matters to you. It matters to each and every one of you. And if you miss this, you miss it. You know, I'll go on about being your governor. I'll try every way I can to help you, and every time I can, in every way I possibly can. But from my standpoint, I want you to know this doesn't mean doodly to me. It means everything to the people of West Virginia, and many, many, many people have been told things that aren't true. You need to seek the truth. And at the end of the day, you'll find out that we just cannot miss this opportunity. Thank you a bunch. I'll be back with you soon. Thank you again.